walker, he a bull-shooting son of a gun. Yeah, he big and dumb as a man can come, but he's stronger than a country horse. And when the bad folks all get together at night, you know they all call Big Jim Ball just because. And they say you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim.
That's right, you don't mess around with Jim. Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I am Chris Witt. Across from me, as always, is my cousin, much better looking cousin, Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
Not much better looking, but I'm pretty spectacular as far as how I'm feeling.
Spectacular is good.
Yeah,
I like that.
Feeling good.
That's good. We got a lot of stuff going on today. Old Jim spitting into the wind. We got.
He's not the only one.
He's
spitting.
not the only one spitting. That's for sure. We got Rajon Rondo, Chris Paul getting into it. We got the World Series going on as we speak. Game 2, Red Sox are winning in the 6th inning. As we are recording this, that's what's happening. And then we got the thing that I want to start with though is the ugliest man competition for the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. It officially ended early in the morning last Thursday. About 1 o'clock in the morning, the poll ended, and it ended just the way you would have everything end, in a tie.
Yes.
So there is dual ugliest ever. No, we couldn't have it come down to a decision. So Willie McGee, congratulations. Don Mossy, congratulations.
Good work, guys.
Good work, fellas. Two ugliest players in Major League Baseball history. I know you hate that so much.
I like the tie. I like the tie in the championship there because I'm good with giving them Look, they've both worked so hard all their lives on being unattractive men that they both deserve a championship. So why not give it to them both?
When you're that ugly and you're born with that kind of ugliness, you got to be good at something. So they win at being ugly. Congratulations. So we got a new one coming up. We've been talking about this. We've thrown it out to some people out in the Twitter sphere, and come back with what I think is going to be a lot of fun. We're not gonna make fun of things people were born with, because Adam's not comfortable with that. So I'm done. We'll be done with that.
I wanted it to be a nicer, a kinder tournament.
Sure.
It didn't end up being that, not necessarily.
Well,
but we've modified.
We've done
yeah.
good. So what we're going to do for the next poll, for going into the NBA season right now, we are going to do worst haircut in the NBA. Now, that being said, there's some quick parameters we're going to put on it. You have to be playing in the NBA currently, but it can be a past picture of you.
Yes.
Therefore, it could be a picture of, I don't know, we'll say like Dirk Nowitzki, who's been playing for 57 million years. It could be from his rookie year. However, can't have a Jason Kidd or a Steve Nash picture from Dirk's rookie year.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. So those are rules. We'll get out there. We'll get it to you guys. The first poll will be out tonight. We're going to go over the rankings and how we got everybody in line for that on the show here today. But let's get started with some Bengals. Let's just talk about these Bengals real quick. It's football season. It's what everybody's into these days. So the Bengals took a hit. They took a big hit. They lost to Kansas City. They didn't just lose. They got beat up. When your backup is in the game, it's either a really good thing or a really bad thing. And Driscoll went 4 for 4 for like 45 yards. So, unfortunately for the Bengals, that was a bad thing. They took everybody out for that reason because they were getting smoked. Now, what was your take on what happened in this game?
First of all, a lot of people were making a big deal about the Bengals in prime time. They were on. It was Sunday Night Football, so that was the only game on at that time. And they've been miserable in those games. Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday night. They've been really, really bad in the Marvin Lewis era. And a lot of people were making a big deal about that. I, for one, do not care whether it's Sunday night, whether it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, whether it's Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, sure. Wednesday, whatever.
But there's obviously something, because Andy Dalton has won a Thursday night game, but he still has not. He's never won a Sunday night game. There's something to that. There's got to be. Maybe you're just playing because on primetime games like that, you're playing better competition.
Yes, I would say.
And the Bengals just aren't that good.
I would say so, yes. So yeah, that's what it is to me. And they certainly played better competition. That's the thing is, I also don't think this is like, the Bengals took a nosedive here. It was a bad game. They played very poorly offensively and defensively. They would have lost to most teams in the NFL the way that they played, but you cannot forget about the fact that the Chiefs are the best team in the league right now. They're red hot.
They're the best offensive team. They were literally the worst defensive team.
Yes, which makes
literally the worst.
Which makes it even more impressive that they're 6-1.
If Driscoll wouldn't have thrown for those 45 yards, whatever, the Bengals would have been right at or under 200 yards for the game. That's horrible. I mean,
it's
come on.
Really bad.
You can't be that bad. And then the Bengals, on the other hand, who are supposed the bright spot of this team is supposed to be their defensive line. They are third worst in the league at pressuring the quarterback,
and they're second worst in points allowed and yards allowed, right behind Kansas City.
So somebody needs a lot of fire on his defense because the offense is still there. I mean, they're not doing amazing, but when you're if you go out there as an offense and you don't score on your first drive or your second drive, and you're down 14-0 right off the bat, I mean, that puts a little damper on your spirits. So the defense has got to step up. And I know we got injuries galore. This week, I think you get 7 inactive. You can have 7 inactive players per week. The Bengals would currently, if they went with who was all sitting out in practice today, would have 10. So somebody's going to have to suit up and be hurt. So we're not even going to have a full roster probably going into this game. Somebody's going to be suited up and not even be able to play.
Yeah,
so it's
possibly. But in the middle of the week, so many guys miss practice in the middle of the week. Like a ton of guys miss practice in the middle of the week and end up playing.
Well, we'll see.
I don't know what the situation is.
There's a lot of beat up guys out there, and there's a lot of guys that aren't going to play. But the good thing is we got Tampa Bay, who is on a downward slide. Mm-hmm. We got Jameis Winston's back in there, who I personally loved coming out of college. Love Jameis Winston. Forget about the background and all the crap he gets himself into. I thought he was going to be the real deal. He showed that was so far has not been the case. However, we got Tampa Bay and then the bye week. There's never been a year I can remember that the Bengals needed a bye as bad as they do after next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal whether they win this game or not, because there is a massive difference between going into the bye week 5-3 and 4-4. And so that's, it depends on what they do this week against Tampa Bay. I feel pretty good about this game, to be honest with you. They've played their 2 worst games of the season the last 2 weeks, but they're going against, like you said, against Tampa Bay, who started really strong, put up 40-something points their first 2 games.
They still have the weapons. Their weapons are still there. I mean,
yeah, and it's not going to be a cakewalk.
No, it's not at all. It's going to be. It'll be interesting. The Tampa Bay almost won last week. If who was it? I think Howard threw a ball backwards to what's that? Fast as lightning. Anyway, Deshaun Jackson and Jackson started looking at the end zone before he caught the ball on that short hop. It would have been close to getting in. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They could easily have won last week. They didn't. The Bengals, they have a chance at this, but they need their defensive backs are falling like flies. Their linebackers are going down like flies. We've got to find a way for that defensive backfield to step up. That happens, we got a chance, but I think this is going to be a close game. It's going to end up being a good game. You're going to hope that Andy Dalton can find that fire that was there for the first 3-4 weeks of the season. Maybe they can make that last clutch drive down the field. We'll find out.
Yep, I agree. I think it'll be close too.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. While we're on that, let's go ahead and that's the Bengals. Next week is week 8. This Sunday is week 8.
Yes.
Now, if I remember correctly, Mr. Andre Edwards, I think he said that he might stop by and make not stop by, but he might call in and make another appearance after week 8.
Yes. Well, he'll have 2 weeks to decide what he wants to do.
He can either do it the bye week, you can do it after next week and be before the bye week, or if he wants to wait a week, we can do it before game 9. So Andre, if you're listening, brother, let us know how you want to do it.
Yep.
Bengals
if you
Insider,
want to do it.
Yeah, if you want to do it. Bengals
if
Insider.
You want to slum it and come down and and come on with us again. We
would appreciate it. The
If
listeners
not, we
would
understand.
appreciate it. Bengals Insider, LockedOnBengals.com writer, Andre Edwards. Hopefully we can lock him back down for another episode. So also on top of that, we made a little bet last week, didn't we?
We sure did.
We made a bet on the spread. Was it against the spread or straight
It was
up?
against the spread, yes.
Okay, so Bengals versus Kansas City. I took the Bengals. They were
6, I think.
They were getting 6 or 5, whatever
I think
it
it was
was. They
6.
obviously got blown out. So on Halloween, we will be live, the Nosebleed Sports Podcast on Facebook Live in the dungeon, same time, same place. But I will be dressed as Michael Phelps, ready to jump into the water. Speedo, goggles, and if I can get somebody to send me a latex cap, maybe I'll just wear a rubber glove on my head. I don't know.
Swimmer's cap. Maybe I'll find you a swimmer's cap.
We'll be there. I got no problem with it, so it should be a lot of fun. If you want to see me without a shirt on in basically underwear, tune in.
Yeah, after that game on Sunday night, I was like, hey, I won the bet, and then I sat there and thought, wait a minute, I lost the bet.
No, you won.
I
brother,
lost
you won.
either way because I'm going to be sitting 2 feet away from you, just the two of us in this tiny room.
Just the two.
Just
That
the
might
two
just
of
be
us.
the words for next. That just might be the song.
That's going to make me
Just
feel
the
even
two
better.
of us.
Yeah, but with right here with you and your Speedo, dressed as Michael Phelps for Halloween, I would have had to be Dorothy.
Yeah, you would have had to dress up as Dorothy. That would have been funny. Joe Leonard, that's not true. I do not wear my Speedo on casual Thursday night, any casual Thursday night. I save the Speedo for Wednesdays. I actually have it on currently underneath right now.
You just
but
wear
I
it as
choose.
underwear
I
all the
just
time?
choose. Yeah, that's exactly right. So anyway, so let's get into this week's game. So right now, I believe that I went 2-1 last week. You went 1-2. I snatched the game up on you.
Mm-hmm.
So am I down 2? Am I down 3? What am I down now?
So now overall for the year, I am 8-10. You are 6-12.
There you go.
But those can be made up very quickly.
Yes, they can.
So yeah, we've got
right.
we've got the picks.
So let's get it going.
for
Let's
this
start.
week.
Let's start off with you, man. Who do you have as your 3 games against the spread? And like I said, it's Wednesday. Things can change. What do you got?
So Carolina is a 2-point underdog at home to Baltimore. So I'm taking Carolina in that one. Jacksonville is a 3-point underdog to Philadelphia at Jacksonville. I'm taking them.
Got it.
And then Green Bay is a 9.5-point underdog in LA against the Rams.
Oh,
I'm taking
you're
Green
going
Bay
after
to
Green
cover
Bay,
that
huh?
9.5.
Okay. Green Bay's struggled here a little bit, so that'll be an interesting game for sure.
So I've got Carolina, Jacksonville, and Green Bay for next week.
All right, so starting off, I decided I was going to pay a little bit better attention this week, and actually, instead of just jumping through and writing games down, I was going to look at it. So I'm going to start off. I'm taking Kansas City. This year, they're 7-0 against the spread. They're going up against Denver, who can't score to save their life. Terrible defense. They're 2-4-1. Kansas City's at home. Denver's 2-4-1 against the spread. Kansas City 7-0 this year. I got them continuing that streak, covering the 10 points. Then we got Seattle at Detroit. Detroit's covered. They're 5-1 against the spread, where Seattle's 3-2-1. So I'm gonna stick with that. It's 3 points. Detroit's giving Seattle 3 points. I'm gonna take Stafford. I'm gonna take Stafford to win this game. And then the last game I'm gonna take is Miami in Houston. Miami's getting 7.5 at this point, and I just don't think Houston's that good. And I think Miami's a halfway decent team. So that's what I'm taking. So there you go.
3 different games again. Okay.
3 different games, so I got more room, more chance to catch up to you now, baby. More chance to catch up. All right, so let's what do you want to do? You want to get into some swipe left? You want to do a little basketball? You want to talk what do you want to do?
I've got one swipe left, swipe right for you.
Just one?
I've just got one for you.
All right, well, I'll start. I'm going to start.
You go first.
So we'll go into swipe left, swipe right on the nosebleeds. This is my favorite thing that we do every week. Swipe left if you like it, swipe right if you don't. Go on SoundCloud, search the Nosebleed Sports Podcast, check out episode 8. That's where this all comes from.
Swipe right if you like it. Swipe left if you don't.
What did I say? Opposite?
Yeah.
All right. I think everybody out there has a pretty good idea how that works.
Any single people, you know what I'm talking about.
You don't even have to be single. We all know swipe left, swipe right. Anyway, so here we go. Starting off. So last week we talked about we talked a lot about fried bologna juice. We talked about bologna juice. We talked about fried bologna sandwiches. So before we went on the air tonight, we had a special treat. Adam walked in the house, and we had from my dad and I. We had fried bologna sandwiches waiting for him. I got a picture. We'll put it up on the Twitter at Sick With It. Throw it on the Facebook if you guys are on there. So you can see Adam eating the fried bologna sandwich that he so made fun of, and I don't think he liked it because it took him an hour to eat the one tiny quarter. That's why we were on a little late today. Anyway. Swipe left, swipe right, fried bologna sandwiches.
The fried bologna sandwich that I tasted here just 20 minutes ago.
Don't hurt his feelings.
Swipe right. I swipe right on that. Now, that is not the way that I would make it at my house. I would throw a piece of bologna and fry it up real quick and just throw it on a couple of pieces of bread, because I wouldn't want to take all the time to actually make it well.
Right.
So that's probably why I wouldn't like it there. It was done with precision and with great care.
He worked hard on it. He worked hard on it. He got here. He was here a little before 9 getting that thing ready for you. So
man,
yeah,
I appreciate it. I appreciate your dad doing that, because it really was good. It really was good.
There you go.
The salt, the butter helped. It was.
We had it all. It was perfect. All right, so swipe. All right, good. So
Swipe
what do you
right
got?
on
Let's go. Swipe left, swipe right.
So my swipe left, swipe right. Fox baseball announcer Joe Buck.
Swipe left. I can't stand that guy. I thought he stole my tagline. I went back and listened to it. Top of the second, coming back from break, and he's making fun of Boston. Got people who turn their lights on, and Kevin, don't forget to turn your lights on before you leave. I thought I heard, don't forget to turn your headlights on, which I like to say at the end of every show, which just would have made me hate him even more. Even though he didn't say that, I still can't
close.
stand him. He can take his hair plugs and his cockiness and everything else about him. I'm swipe left, Joe Buck. That dude's a tool.
I've heard for a long time your opinion on Joe Buck, and I know you haven't been a fan of his. And I've heard the same thing from a lot of people, to be honest with you. A lot of people don't care for him. I don't dislike him as much as a lot of people, but I can take him or leave him. There are a lot of good guys. There are a lot of good ones out there. If he's replaced tomorrow, I'm fine with that.
Wouldn't hurt your feelings.
Doesn't matter to me, really. If he stays on, doesn't really matter to me either. As long as there's a good game on, that's all I really care about. Plus, John Smoltz is there, and I love him, so he does it for me.
So swipe left, swipe right.
So
this is the last one. I got one
okay,
more.
You got,
I got one for you. I'm not
going to
make you choose to say if you like or dislike somebody.
I hit the home button on John.
Yeah,
on Joe Buck.
You're definitely 100% saying, no comment. No comment from Adam. Can we have a tie?
That's a perfect impression of me.
Sounds nothing like you. All right, so here you go. Swipe left, swipe right. You would ever put your finger in somebody's face if they spit on you?
Swipe right, definitely. I feel
that's what you would do, is put your finger in their face?
Well, I don't know. Like I feel like that's an appropriate reaction.
Okay.
I don't know, honestly, what I would actually do if that happened in real life.
So obviously we're going to do this because I want to get into Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul, because
so do I.
I know you want to talk about it. So break it down. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube. Check it out. James Harden's bringing the ball down the court. Brandon Ingram's defending him somewhat. And James Harden kind of takes his little Euro step, kind of bounces into him, goes in for the layup, and is begging for a call. It was a foul, and he's begging for the continuation call and everything else. And as he's starting to beg, Brandon Ingram, for no reason at all, pushes him. and they immediately tee him up. Brandon Ingram comes over. He's pissed at the ref, yelling at the ref. Next thing you know, Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo are throwing punches.
Yeah. Yep. So a little bit happened in between there. So first of all, let me just say I've been in that situation that Brandon Ingram was in several times playing basketball. It's James Harden.
You feel like you didn't cause the foul. You feel like you were ran into.
It's maybe not even necessarily that I didn't foul him, but that he
initiated the contact.
Yeah, he initiated the contact for sure, and James Harden does that. He's great at it.
He's the best in the league at it.
He is.
Except for maybe LeBron.
But their momentum was going. I mean, Harden was going. This was a fast break. I mean, he's going hard to the basket.
Right.
And he wants to get there. He wants to get the contact and then finish. So he hits Ingram pretty hard.
Yeah.
And Ingram is like 6'10", 112. So he goes kind of flying into the stanchion, into the support, the basket support. The foul's called. So being hit like that, flying into the, running into the support and getting the foul called on you, it's just all a very frustrating thing to happen.
Sure.
Right? So it's happened to me.
That happens all the time in the NBA.
It does.
What is Brandon Ingram doing?
He was, and that's the thing too.
And then when you do push somebody because you're upset and you get teed up, what did you not think that was going to happen?
I'm surprised that he didn't get ejected immediately for the way that he reacted to the official. So he got
ridiculous.
He got teed up. Yeah, he pushed him, and it was delayed too. It was like 5 or 6 seconds after the play stopped, and he was just kind of like
Harden had already gone under the basket and came back from under the basket.
They were both walking back onto the floor, and they kind of were passing each other, and he just two-hand shoved him. Harden didn't even react. Harden just turned to the ref and put his hands up. Like,
what happened?
What's going on there? Teed him up right away. Ingram went right after the official. That to me is, they talk about intimidation when players try to intimidate officials.
No doubt.
If that's not intimidation,
yeah,
then nothing is. So he should have gotten teed up again just for that.
Well, he probably would have, but by the time all that went down, they grabbed him. He pulled. Who looks worse in this whole thing? Is it Brandon Ingram, Rajon Rondo, or Chris Paul?
Well, so I think it's a. Here I go with a tie again.
Here we go.
I go with a tie again.
Imagine that. It's a tie. Two people. Can't put it on one person.
Rondo and Ingram, for me, easily look the worst coming out of this thing because Lance Stevenson.
Chris Paul, I just want to say this. Chris Paul's not an angel.
He's not.
That dude was.
Let me get there.
Okay. Go ahead.
Lance Stevenson, ever the calmer, ever the what's the term I'm trying to think? He has his head on straight so often, just all the time.
Sure.
He just
level-headed kind of guy.
Level-headed is the term I was thinking of. He grabs Ingram when he's going after the ref and pulls him away right away. They go almost all the way back to half court. Ingram kind of calms down pretty much right away then. But he just kind of like starts walking around, puts his head down. Harden's back there with him. They're not even talking. Nothing's happened. But when everybody kind of went up, near the two of them after the shove, after Ingram's initial shove, everybody kind of ran over to make sure nothing was going on. So when that happened, Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul got together face to face.
Plenty of words were said.
Like
happen all the time.
Right. Now, Chris Paul,
first person to initiate. Chris
Paul was looking to get under Rondo's skin, who is the king of getting under people's skin.
Crosses his arms.
Rondo
puffs his chest out.
Exactly.
Chris Paul, like he's gonna,
exactly
like he's egging it on big time.
Yes,
I think Chris Paul he instigated the whole thing. None of this would have happened if he wouldn't have got into it. And he comes out looking like he's the angel, the angel of this whole thing.
He doesn't. I don't think he looks like an angel. If you go back and look at it, yes, he was an instigator, but what he did not come anywhere close to warranting Rajon Rondo spitting in his face.
At first, I didn't think Rondo really spit there. I thought it was just kind of like he was just kind of going psh, and got some spit on. But no, I went back. There's close video, 100%. Pursed his lips together, spit. There's no doubt he spit on him. Here's the deal, though. If you're Chris Paul and you are going to be in a face-to-face conversation with a guy who's known to just be an idiot and want to be, and want to fight anything and anybody, his own teammates, anybody there is,
Yep.
well, you better expect something stupid to happen if you're going to try to. If you're going to start swelling up on him like you're going to do something, or you're basically asking him to do something.
But by something,
I'm not saying spitting on him is the right thing to do.
By something,
any means.
It's a shove, it's a punch, it's never a spit. Spitting is a way higher level offense than those other things. It's a normal fight.
All I'm saying is
pushes, shoves,
Chris
punches.
Paul is not. I think all of them are equally idiots. Actually, I take that back. Brandon Ingram is the highest idiot of all three of them, because then all of a sudden out of nowhere he comes sprinting in, throwing more punches.
Yeah, I don't even think he saw what happened.
Idea.
He was kind of just like moping around up at the top.
Melo was trying to keep him back, and then next thing you know, he's 100 miles an hour coming in again.
I'll tell you a couple of things that I thought were interesting about when they did. So, and that's the other thing. Rondo spit in Chris Paul's face. Chris Paul puts his finger in Rondo's face and kind of pushes his face with his finger. Rondo throws the first punch, lands a pretty decent punch, a pretty decent jab.
Chris Paul got a good one in on him too.
He did.
He might have got 2 in.
Yeah. They both got like 1.5 in, I think.
Right.
But Brandon Ingram just kind of looks up when the commotion starts going on, sprints over and just throws a big wild punch from like 18 feet away, because that's how long his arms are.
I was just going to say that.
And he, Stretch Armstrong got him from like half court. But so he throws a big punch at Chris Paul. I mean, so here are the suspensions, okay?
Let's hear him.
Brandon Ingram, 4 games. He got the most.
Deserved it.
Yep. Rajon Rondo got the second most with 3.
Okay.
And Chris Paul got 2.
I think they all should have got 4. I think every one of them did something. Every one of them instigated something in some way that didn't need to go anywhere any more forward than it did. Mm-hmm. I think all of them should have. I think all of them should have got the exact same suspension. 5 games. I didn't even care. Just they all should have got the same. Maybe Ingram gets one more than the 2, but I think the 2 of them, Rondo and Paul, I think both of them should have got the same.
I couldn't disagree with you more on that. Rondo spitting on another guy and throwing the first punch, for me, that's way, way worse than anything Chris Paul did. For me, Rondo should get the highest suspension. If you want to have the same suspension for he and Ingram, I'm fine with that. But it should be at least 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 games. It can't be less than 4, I don't think. I mean, I think you have to really, really punish these guys. That's so disgusting. It's so disgusting to spit on a person's face.
Have you ever been spit on?
I've not.
I don't think I.
No, I hope that I never. I mean, I would hope I would never offend someone enough for them to want to spit on me. I mean, that takes a real low life person. I'm
pretty sure that I've offended somebody enough to get spat on.
I don't think
I've ever actually been spat on before.
I don't think you have, but that's an offense that is far worse than a punch, than anything like that. But those 2 things together, spitting on someone, throwing a punch, starting the actual fight. Now, yes, Paul instigated. He got it.
Yeah,
he got it kind of elevated, but he really did. I mean, he didn't really do anything. He just kind of puffed out and said some stuff and crossed his arms and stared at him, got face to face. But I mean,
I'm sorry,
Rondo
you push a guy in the face. I think that Chris Paul started that. I think Rondo wouldn't have.
He pushed him. He pushed him in the face because he got spit.
He should have hit him.
Face.
Why didn't he hit him?
I don't. Well, I mean, I think Chris Paul gets credit for that.
I'm watching it now.
I think he should get credit for that.
Chris Paul's the reason that he got spit. He's the reason he got spit on.
No.
Don't go
what
up
he
on
did.
the...
What he did. What Chris Paul did. That doesn't even deserve to get punched. He just swelled up like a million. Like it happens every single night in the NBA. Guys get together, they get in each other's face. There's a little shove or whatever. He didn't even shove him. He touched him in the chest a little bit when he folded his arms in front of him, like he was ready to fight. But that's all he did. He folded his arms, stared at him, and said, "What are you gonna do?" And then Rajon Rondo said,
He said, "What are you gonna do to the wrong guy?"
He said, "Here's a little AIDS, buddy," and spit in his face. So that to me, that was Chris Paul is. I mean, you can suspend him 2 games. If you want to suspend him 3 games, I think you at least double Rondo and Ingram's suspension for whatever Chris Paul gets. Yeah. At least double for me.
I don't know.
It's
ridiculous. It's all ridiculous. It's all stupid. None of it should have ever happened. It all started because Brandon Ingram's an idiot. That's the whole deal.
Yeah, that was a shame. And listen, this Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo thing, this has been going on for 10 years.
Yeah.
It started in, I think it was 2008. Chris Paul won a spot on Team USA for the Olympics over Rajon Rondo. And that started, Rondo was mad about that. He was upset.
Really?
So the next season they played a close game. This was when Chris Paul was still in Charlotte. Was still in Charlotte, and it was New Orleans for a couple years, whatever. Yeah. It was because that was the year. That summer was the summer that the Celtics won their first championship. So Rondo won a championship as a starting point guard in the Celtics, and then lost a spot on Team USA to Chris Paul. Chris Paul's a better player, but Rondo lost that spot to him. He was mad. So the next year they played each other, and Rondo came up to Chris Paul after the game and said, "You will never win a ring. I have one. You will never ever win a ring."
He's right so far.
He's right so far. They I mean, Rondo was part of Celtics teams that he had way more help than Chris Paul's ever had.
Sure,
but
that's how all the anybody that wins now is.
Right. But they exchanged some words there, and ever since then, both guys are complete idiots. Since this thing came out, by the way, Rondo still will not admit that he spit on purpose.
He said there's a difference between exasperating and spitting. Yeah. Sorry, brother.
So, right, yeah. He spit on him. There's no question. So some people are still saying he didn't. But anyway, there's video evidence of it. I don't know how you can dispute it. But he talked about, he said people think Chris Paul is this great guy. He is not. He's a horrible teammate. And by the way, 2 of Chris Paul's former teammates came out and said, Rondo's right. Chris Paul is a terrible teammate.
Chris Paul's coming out. A lot is coming out about Chris Paul since this started.
Just like this Manny Machado thing we talked about last week.
Exactly the same thing.
Yes.
You think somebody, you only see stats and you only see the good side of people, but then something comes up, and next thing you know, you start looking back, and it's like, man, this dude's just as big an instigator as anybody else on an NBA floor.
He has been dirty over his career. Chris Paul has. He's hit guys in the groin several times. That started in college. There are a bunch of things about that. There are just a bunch of dirty plays, and a lot of guys that do not care for Chris Paul, think he's a dirty player, and he's made a career out of that. And he's real feisty all the time on the floor. Teammates don't like that all the time. Some guys do, and think, okay, that's a warrior. He's gonna have my back and all that kind of stuff. But some of his former teammates talk about, this guy's got his own agenda. He goes to upper management behind the rest of the team's back. He's got his own thing going.
And he's known as head of the players' union, so people think, everybody must love him
which is surprising. Good. The players voted him in as the president of the players.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that he's the greatest guy. It just means they believe that if anybody can take care of their agenda, it's going to be him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, my question to you is, because what's been weighing on my mind is, I wonder what Cliff Paul thinks about this. I feel like Cliff Paul's a pretty straight edge dude.
He is.
I wonder if he's disappointed in his brother.
There are, you see that, honestly, you see that quite a bit. There are siblings who are totally the opposite. Cliff Paul is probably pretty disappointed in his brother. Now, it's family, it's blood, so I'm sure he's gonna back his brother, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Although former teammates didn't back Chris Paul, so I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see what happens on the next State Farm commercial.
Blood is thicker than water. Yeah. Yep. We will see. And maybe what's his face from The Office? will turn his back on Chris Paul too.
It'd be interesting. We'll see.
It'll have to be all Cliff Paul from now on. I think they're gonna drop Chris Paul
And just have
the
Cliff
State
Paul
Farm
do the.
and just
He's
have
got a great
Cliff Paul.
mustache.
Yeah,
Cliff's got a great mustache.
Cliff, it's well groomed.
Well groomed. He does well with it. All right. So speaking of the NBA, real quick, LA though, I do want to say one thing about LA.
Yeah, it's
Because
we gotta talk about the
I've-
Lakers.
I know,
They're going to be missing two of their
King
guys.
James, they're going to be missing two of their guys, two key guys.
Yes.
This is going to be big games for Lonzo Ball. They lost their first game with both of them out, but they should have won against the Spurs. And it all comes back. LeBron James is the king. He is the greatest basketball player to ever step foot on a court. However,
You want to have that debate right now?
no, I don't want to get into that again. However, what do we do about this free throw deal? My man. I mean, he's getting a lot of heat about this, and I didn't realize this. I started looking back, like the greatest of all time. They're always in that 80 to 85 range, or better. Larry Bird was a career 89% free throw shooter. They're all in that range, and Bron's he's mid 70s, low 70s, or something like that. I think.
Yeah, low 70s.
Low
I think
70s.
That's
the Achilles heel for my man.
It has been his whole career. It really has been. He's missed a lot of big time free throws in games, and that really is. I mean, that's one of the strategies I think teams have is you can foul LeBron at the end of games and feel much better about your chances of him missing free throws than of him either scoring or creating a shot for another guy that's going to score, because typically they put shooters around. Now, the Lakers didn't do that.
No.
They haven't put any shooters around LeBron yet, but next year that'll happen, or this offseason it'll happen. But, yeah, right now, I mean, that's your best bet is probably to foul LeBron and send him to the line.
Yeah. There's days where he has great days from the line, and there's days, but it's the clutch. I think that clutch factor at the end of the game, and he's had years where he was clutch at the end of games. So I don't know. A lot of people are giving him grief. I kind of feel bad. Joe, big fan of the nosebleeds, I've gotten a text. We've gotten a Facebook hit from him. He's been all over our feed here talking about LeBron's free throws. So I had to bring it up.
That's it needs
because I
want to
know what you think about it.
It needs to be brought up. It's a big deal. I mean, this Lakers team is not ready to win yet, and they haven't yet. They're 0-3 right now. They're going to turn it around. They're going to
turn this team. They've got the talent. They've got more talent than people give them credit for on this team. It's just a matter of getting them together and letting them play for a while. It's like LeBron said, man. Hey, basketball ain't instant oatmeal, man. You know what I mean? You got to give it some time. You know, we got to mesh this thing together.
Those Miami teams started out, you
remember the
12
first year,
and 12, 12 and 14, something like that.
Exactly.
And then they ended up in the finals. So I don't know. They're going to be fine because they have LeBron James. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're in the West now. LeBron's playing in the West now.
Still give them a 4 seed.
I'll go along with that right now.
Still giving them
still
a 4
early
seed.
enough that
0-3. I'm still giving them a 4 seed.
I'll tell you what, though, I don't want to root for them anymore right now. It's going to take me a while to get.
So you're going to root for? So if they come up against Houston, you're going to root for Houston instead of them?
I might have done that anyway, honestly.
I'm not rooting for Chris Paul anymore. What do you think about that?
So
what do you think about that? I don't like Chris Paul anymore.
You're fine rooting for the Lakers with Rondo and Ingram, who did way worse than Chris Paul did.
What I'm telling you is, don't not root for somebody, because I started to say I wasn't going to root for the Dodgers anymore because of Machado, but I took it back.
But you're rooting for the Red Sox.
Well, it's because they're playing the Red Sox now.
Right.
I was talking about in the Brewers series.
Yeah.
But no, I'm obviously I'm rooting for the Red Sox. Is my team. So,
right.
But
I like
I'm
that
not
hat,
gonna,
by the way.
I'm not gonna hate. Thank you. I'm not gonna hate that whole team just because of Manny Machado. I'm not gonna do it. So I'm not gonna hate the Lakers because they got a couple idiots on their team. And actually, the biggest idiot on their team was the one trying to calm things down immediately. He was the first one to go at Brandon Ingram and try to calm him down. Was Lance Stevenson. So I'm not gonna hate him because of that. Because the king will reign, and the king will have his people calm themselves down and understand their roles, and everything's going to be good. We're going to be good.
We'll see.
We're going to be good.
We'll see.
Here we go. All right, so let's get into this. This is what I really want to do. So we're in the NBA. We're going to get to the World Series here in a minute, but we're going to need a new poll. So ugliest haircut in the NBA must be a current player, but it can be a picture from any time in their career. In fact, some of these pictures are going to end up with multiple pictures in them because there's some dudes out there with some crazy hair.
We have found some good ones.
Really good ones. All right, so let's get it started. I'm going to let Adam run down from the 8 seed to the 1 seed. We're going to do eight guys. We got a couple honorable mentions. I'm going to let you run it down, and I'm just going to sit here and laugh.
Okay. So our number 8 seed is Dirk Nowitzki. Now, this is specifically his rookie year. Dirk has changed his hair several times over the years. He's shaved it for a while. A few different times he grew it real long.
The buzz cut actually could have possibly made this. The buzz cut was, I think he looked ridiculous in a buzz cut, but it's probably because Dirk, if there was an ugliest man in NBA, he'd be on that list. So maybe
on that list,
I'd put him pretty close when he does this. He sticks his teeth out looking at there's some good ones of that. Anyway, we're not making fun of how ugly people are.
Right, we're done with that.
And real quick, just to put a disclaimer on this, LeBron James was on the original list. However, we had to take LeBron off because Adam decided that baldness is not a hairstyle. That's something you're born with, and we're not going to bald shame anybody.
Right.
Because we had another guy, what was his name?
Costa Koufos,
who's going bald in like 4 different spots on his head. None of them where normal people go bald.
Oof.
So, and still continues to grow his hair out. So, we're not going to do that to the bald guys, even though I just did. Adam's not. I will. I have no problem with it, but we're not going to do that. So those guys are off. Just giving you a little heads up on little background.
Right. So we're trying to do a more positive thing here. So we're going to make fun of some haircuts.
Adam's trying to be more positive.
No, we collectively are.
Yes, we are. We don't like being mean to anybody.
You're a nicer guy than I am. You're just joking around.
I don't like to be mean to anybody. All right. So number 7.
So
Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk in his rookie year.
We're going to do bowl cut, middle part.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he basically looks like every Nirvana fan from 1994.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That who was 14 years old.
Yes.
All right, number 7, Iman Shumpert.
This is an easy one. Iman Shumpert. We're going to go with, I mean, he's had a couple of them, and we might mash a couple pictures together or clip them together so you can see a couple different hairstyles. But for sure, the one is from the finals from about 3 years ago, which I just don't understand. He had it for 2 straight years in the finals, or for the whole year, I guess. The dude can get a beautiful high top fade that is clutch, better than no other out there. I mean, I put it up there with Kid and Play, or with kids from Kid and Play's high top fade.
It was nice.
Looks good.
In New York, he had a nice high top
really
fade.
Good one. However, he does he rocked this high top fade with like a poof in the center. It just a ball that stuck up out of the middle of it.
It was like the old winter hat that you used to wear with the little fuzzy ball on the top.
The fuzzy ball on top. So anyway, that's Iman Shumpert. Yes, 100%.
And he's had some other ones over the years. That guy changes
awful
his hair
haircut. Awful haircut. All right, so who is going to be our 6th seed in the NBA's worst haircuts?
Number 6, another guy who's changed his hair several times over the years, and there are some unbelievable pictures of this guy, Michael Beasley.
Michael Beasley, yes. All right, so Michael Beasley, most notably known for the cornrows, I would say, right?
Yep, cornrows,
and there's been
braids,
a couple of the cornrows I like. Although the day when he gets them cornrows taken out, and he ain't got to the barbershop yet, or to the weave place, or whoever does the braids, and he plays that 1 or 2 games in between. Oh boy, there's some good ones. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited about that one.
Me too. All right, and speaking of big hair, long hair, number 5 is Joakim Noah.
Joakim Noah. Now, this guy could have easily been on the ugliest basketball players in history as well. I think a big reason why he's on this is because of his ugliness.
Okay.
I think his just downright ugliness makes his hair worse than it really is. Although,
his hair doesn't do him any favors.
Yeah, he doesn't wash his hair, I don't think. He's just got a lot of knots in it, it appears to be. He puts it in a top bun that just looks goofy, but when he puts it down, it's even funnier. So, yes, 100%. I'm with you on that.
Joe
Terrible
Kimbrell.
haircut. Good call on that one.
Now, number 4, I feel like there's a line here where number 4 through number 1 are like
Legit.
this elite level.
It's a whole nother level of terrible haircuts.
Number 4, we have the winner, at least once, I think twice, winner of the Shaqtin' a Fool season championship.
This is the reason that Shaqtin' a Fool is on.
And you're right, is JaVale McGee.
JaVale McGee.
And I'll tell you what, a couple of his hairstyles over the years were Shaqtin' a Fool.
Yeah.
Most certainly.
I'm going to tell you the biggest one is, the rat tail. He's had the rat tail now for about 3 years, and it's horrible.
It's so bad.
It is horrible.
Oh.
However, we got a good picture. At one point in time, he rocked a 3 rat tail. He was a 3-tailed rat-tailed haircut.
3-tailed.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what's worse.
It was terrible.
I'll tell you what's worse is they're like real tiny. They're like little tiny ones. It's so weird.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so JaVale's rat tail by
McGee.
far. That's a good number 4.
Number 4. All right, number 3. Now this is a guy not a lot of people are going to know about. Lonnie Walker the 4th.
Look him up. When he got drafted, best draft picture ever with Adam Silver. I feel like they photoshopped the hat to hover above his head. And when you see that, should be the first picture you see, and then start looking. There's a reason the hat hovers above his head. Holy cow! This dude could once again another guy that he's got such a thick head of hair. He could easily rock a good looking do.
Yep.
But he chooses to just let his hair it's like he goes to bed with a high top fade, and in the middle of the night, somebody takes a baseball bat and just like pokes at it, and then he wakes up and it goes in 100 directions and he doesn't care.
Yeah. It's weird, man. There are some strange. If he just like if he combs it out or whatever, and he kind of makes it like a high top fade or whatever, it adds another like 6 or 7 inches to his height, I think.
Yeah.
But when he doesn't, man, it's all over the place and it looks odd.
Yeah, big time.
All right, so Lonnie Walker the 4th.
Lonnie
is
Walker
number
the
3.
4th, number 3. How about number 2? Who we got at the 2 seed?
Now, we've talked about a couple guys who have changed their hair many times over the years.
Wow.
No one has changed more than Jeremy Lin.
Jeremy Lin bursts onto the scene with the Knicks, Linsania or whatever they called it,
yeah.
Linsanity.
Yep.
Just your everyday, little Asian crew cut kind of deal he had going on, and now I don't know what this dude's got going on the top of his dome, but his weave is all whacked out. He goes from a mohawk to some kind of weird shaved side man bun to this dude's had a bunch of them. This will be one, multiple pictures, tough to lose. Although the number 1 seed, I believe, is impossible to beat because I think this guy's purposely did his haircut to look like it was the worst ever.
To win this tournament.
He at one point I think it was 2 years ago, I guess, when he rocked his haircut the most.
He's had it.
It was for
a
few years.
He's only been in the league like 4 years or something like that. But first couple
he
years,
rocked it for a while. He obviously knew that the Nosebleed Sports Podcast would be doing a worst haircuts poll. So he grew his hair out like this, and his name is
Elfrid Payton.
Elfrid Payton, formerly of the Magic. I don't know who he plays for now, but definitely the number 1 seed by far.
I want to say, did he take Rondo's spot in New Orleans? I'm ashamed.
Brooklyn. No, Brooklyn. He's in Brooklyn now.
Is he in Brooklyn?
I think I saw him in a black Brooklyn jersey when I was looking up pictures of these guys.
All right. Well, either way, what his hairdo in Orlando, it was like New
Orleans. You're New Orleans. He's with
okay.
Pelicans.
So
his hair's not any better now. It's
well,
just not as much
cut.
of it.
Yeah, he just got it cut. So I think it's better now. But it was like
It's like people when you grow your hair out, do your hair, man. Like if you don't want to do your hair, then buzz it down or do something low with it to where you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can do anything you want with your hair, but
no,
if
you
don't,
can't. No.
If you want to stay off this list, then
If you don't want to be on the nosebleeds list, listen. And I apologize if people think that what we're doing is being mean and being bullies. But to be honest, I mean, here, you see this rat nest I got going on top of my dome. This lettuce on top of here is terrible. So I feel like I have the right to talk about somebody else's hair. So there you go. That's what I'm sticking to that. All right. So there you go. That's it. So the first round will be
Elfrid Payton against Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk. As much as I love it. Yep. As much as I love it, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I think it's gonna be a blowout, but we'll go from there.
Enjoy your short time in the tournament there, Dirk.
Yep. Dirk, yeah. Congratulations for making it, and we'll see you for the ugliest man in NBA history competition here in a month or so. Just kidding. Not going to do that.
Or maybe the best shooters of all time.
I don't want to do something
nice.
silly like that's too sports-like, man. We do too much sports stuff on this sports podcast. We need some goofiness in between.
Maybe like best sense of humor in the NBA or funniest guy or something like that. That's a little
most oaf-like. How about most oaf-like NBA player?
Oaf-like?
Yeah, most oaf-looking guy. So it's basically
when
just
he moves around.
Big white, slow white guys. Bill Lambeard, Dirk Nowitzki, Sean Bradley. Just big, goofy. The trap. What was his name?
Matt Stainbrook.
Matt Stainbrook. Good night. That's a number 1 seed. Too bad he never made it to the NBA. We'll just call it basketball players in general. But see, that's an all right. I feel like that wouldn't be a bad poll because, I mean, obviously they're good athletes, or they would never make it in as far as they did. So we're just saying, hey, you look like this, but brother, you got some game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You got game. You got to have game to make it to where they made it.
Right.
So,
yep.
Or be 7'1" or 7'4", I think. Sean Bradley 7'4".
He was 7'6", I believe.
7'6". Manute Bull was 7'7".
7'7". George Mirajan was 7'7".
Oh my god!
Another guy that would be on
ugliest
that list for sure.
You can't even say what the list would be, can you? You just say
it was the oaf.
Oh, you're talking about the oaf. Oh no,
yeah,
he's on the ugliest human being in history's list. Sorry, nobody's ugly. Don't use the U word. Nobody's
the U word.
Yeah, don't do that. All right, so let's get into this. Baseball.
Yes.
We got a little bit of time left. The World Series is in full effect. I love this is what we do. Baseball and basketball are our two favorite sports. So the World Series is currently on, and it is 2-0. The Red Sox officially won today. They are at it, and what do you think, buddy? I mean, the Red Sox are just outplaying, out-hitting, out-defending. You can tell that most of these Dodgers have never been to Fenway in their life, or have only played 1 or 2 games there, because they can't play the wall. They look horrible in foul territory because there's basically no foul territory, so they're scared to death that they're about to run into something every time they go running for a ball, and it's showing. And these Red Sox, boy, it's what we said in the beginning. Even with Kershaw having a bad game yesterday, and people were giving Kershaw a rough time. Look, this offense is ridiculous, and they can beat you with the bombs. They're going to hit more home runs than you. They're going to manufacture runs better than you. They're going to steal bases better than you. They're going to move run. Yesterday in Game 1, first inning, and they put on a hit and run. Like, you don't see that in the playoffs in the first inning of a game. I love it. They're aggressive. They do everything right. I feel like Cora makes all the right decisions every time he takes somebody out or puts somebody in. It always works, but it also helps when the people you're putting in would start for almost anybody else. So, I mean, Ian Kinsler, Ian Kinsler's not starting every game. This dude,
he was a perennial all-star for years.
Exactly. And this guy, he's not your backup, but he's sharing time at second. It's ridiculous how good this team is. So exciting. What do you think? What do you think so far about the series?
So I was so excited. We talked before Game 1 started. I was so excited about Game 1 because of that pitching matchup. Clayton Kershaw, Chris Sale, the 2 best lefties in the game. I was so excited about that. and then they both pitched to like 2 batters in the 5th, and both got pulled 4+ innings each. Neither one of them pitched as well as you would expect them to. That part was really disappointing. Kershaw really wasn't very good at all. I mean, he had a,
he got himself out of a couple jams.
He did.
He pitched well.
And
He's got to learn
what?
how to be CC Sabathia though. He's not throwing 98 anymore.
Right.
97. He's got to learn that there are times where he's got to tone it down and pitch the spots, which he does better than anybody.
And he can.
Don't get me wrong.
His
yeah.
breaking stuff is unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
So, yeah, if you got to make it so that you're throwing mostly breaking balls now, okay, you have to do that.
Locate your fastball.
Right.
Change it up. That's
Yes,
what it's all about.
You be more Greg Maddux-like than early Clayton Kershaw.
Although
right?
Clayton Kershaw, I don't know. First off, real quick, this just popped in my head as I was about to say this.
Okay.
So Clayton Kershaw has the lowest ERA, the lowest regular season ERA for his career since the current era of baseball. They call it the current era. That started in 1900. Like, that's what they call the current era in baseball.
Isn't that weird?
How horrible. How is that the current era? Does that make any sense at all? Like,
No,
there's
it
been
doesn't to
5 eras of baseball
Yes.
since the 1900s.
Absolutely.
You had the 1900s, then the 20s hit, and that was a completely different. That's when the live ball era started. So how is current era? But there's also a live ball era inside the current era. So I don't know how this works.
There's a steroid era.
There's a steroid era in the late 80s and 90s. You have the 70s with beer belly era and little tiny people. You have there's all kinds of eras. I don't understand how in God's name they said, since the current era of baseball, which started in 1900. What?
Yeah.
What? Come again?
I'm
anyway,
glad
he's
you-
like a 2-point-something ER, whatever it is, but it's ridiculous.
I'm glad you brought that up. I always thought that was really weird too. Every time they say in the current era or whatever, I'm like, oh, okay, it's got to be in the last 10 years or 15 years or something like that. Since 1900, like what?
Yeah.
All right, so
We forgot to put the on-air sign on.
anyway, oh, nice, yeah,
Kick that
right,
sucker out.
right over Bob Amanab there.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, so game 1, I was excited about that. Neither guy pitched as well as I hoped. What I was hoping for, I was dreaming about a both guys throwing 9 no-hit innings, and then the Red Sox walk it off in the 10th, and it's 1-0. It takes an hour and 45 minutes to play, or an hour and a half to play, or something like that, and it's over in a second. It's just like the best
Beauty.
the
The
best
beauty of
pitches,
baseball, right?
the
The
best
beauty of
pitching.
baseball.
Yeah. So that didn't happen. But the Red Sox, both teams, they kind of went back and forth, adding a run or two, every inning or two, and then Nunez
What are you gonna
pinch
say?
hit home run.
Yeah. So the 3-run bomb.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And it just, his name just escaped me because he's not a regular player. Eduardo Nunez.
Eduardo.
So he hit the pinch hit 3-run home run to kind of pull away. They won 8-4 in game 1. Tonight, I didn't get to see as much of it because I was preparing for this, but the Red Sox took a 1-0 lead early.
Yep.
Dodgers had put up a 2 spot in, I want to say, the maybe 3rd inning or something. Actually,
4th. It was a 4th. He had a no-hitter going through 3. David Price
Right.
was throwing a no-hitter through 3. I mean, David Price was dealing out there.
Yeah.
Whatever he was joking around about saying that he found when he said he was in the bullpen before his last start, and he found something out there, and he threw a hell of a game against the Astros, and they interviewed him and they said, "Well, what was it? What'd you find?" He said, "The hell if I'm telling you," which I don't understand. Like,
I want
anything up.
to know what that was.
I know it. Me too. Everybody does. They've been talking about it like crazy.
So anyway, after the 4th inning, the Dodgers had a 2-1 lead. Boston put up a 3 spot then in the 5th to take a 4-2 lead, and it stayed that way the rest of the game. So 4-2 tonight in game 2.
Yep.
Boston's up 2-0 now. I'll tell you, game 1, a guy that stood out to me, Andrew Benintendi. He had 4 hits in game 1.
Forget game 1. The dude had an unbelievable catch in game 2 up against a wall today.
Yes, he did.
I mean, he's playing
He had the series-clinching catch against the Astros.
And a diving catch in the earlier in that series as well. I mean, the dude is
and the best thing about him is he's from Cincinnati.
Exactly.
So speaking of that, I was probably already kind of leaning toward – I like both of these teams. Now, I was already leaning toward Boston anyway. I've always kind of liked Boston. You kind of really got me into being a Boston Red Sox fan.
Sure.
So for years, I've kind of – Boston's been one of my favorite teams, right? So I'm kind of rooting for them, although I like a lot of these Dodgers. We talked about Machado last week. I can't root for that guy. But then I keep forgetting because they acquired him in a trade in the middle of the season.
Yes.
But I keep forgetting about – the Dodgers. Give me another reason to not root for them in this series is because they have Ryan Madson, who they acquired from the Washington Nationals.
Right before we came on the air today, how excited were you? So there's bases loaded, and they take out who started today? It was
Ryu.
Mm-hmm. Take out Ryu, and they bring in Madson.
Who was the first guy out of the bullpen for Kershaw last night too?
Yeah. So what does he do? He gives up a hit, 3 earned runs. It just blows the game wide open, and that is it.
And
Madsen,
I love it.
I know you. That had to be the greatest thing. I could just feel your enthusiasm as it happened, even though you were not standing next to me.
And what was unfortunate in Game 1 is he came in, so Kershaw got pulled with no outs in the 5th after he pitched, I think, 2 batters. He had 2 guys on, I want to say, and both of those guys ended up scoring. So the inherited runners that Madsen came out and had both scored.
Given every one of them up then.
So
all but one. No,
yeah.
One of them. Oh, yeah, because he only pitched on one. He only got one out today.
Right. But his inherited runners scored yesterday. Unfortunately, those go against Kershaw's ERA. But and then today he gives up 3 runs. Yeah. So
Ryan Madsen
couldn't happen to a better guy.
Ryan Madsen, go hit Joey Votto.
Again
and have a terrible
just
career.
to clarify, it's because he hit Votto in the leg and the knee during
completely
the season,
on purpose.
And Votto ended up missing a bunch of time, missed like a month basically. Because of that, and it made me so upset because it was clearly on purpose.
Madsen had to miss 2 starts.
Missed 2 starts.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Poor guy.
Or 2 games.
Right, not 2 starts. I apologize.
Games.
2 games. Anyway, there you go. So that's the World
go
Series,
Sox.
man. It's a lot of fun out there. We got the World Series going on. By the time we get to you next time, this thing might be swept by the time we're on. World Series might be over. We might be in full baseball/basketball mode. Also, next time we come on is one day before a lot of exhibition games in college basketball. There's a couple actual regular season games I think start on November 1st. So we got a lot of stuff to get into. College basketball season's around the corner, which I'm so excited. I got my tickets. I was at Musketeer Madness the other night. I'm ready to go. My Muskies it's going to be a different year for us. However,
Different's a good way to say it.
Our 2019 team is already looking already looking much better. Travis Steele's getting his own guys in there. Right now, I think we're a top 10. We're a top 10 recruiting class, so I know nobody probably cares too much about that, but we are going to talk about that because we're from Cincinnati. We'll talk about the Bearcats. The Bearcats and the Muskies are both in the same kind of boat. I mean, they lost their 3 top scorers from last year, both teams. They're not returning really too much of anybody that got a lot. I mean, we got Paul Scruggs and Najee Marshall and Quentin Gooden coming back, but it's a lot of role players coming back for both teams that are going to have to step up. You're not sure what they're going to do when they get put in different roles. So for the Cincinnati college basketball scene, it's going to be interesting this year.
Yeah, and just off the top of my head, the top 10. Really probably the top 25, but the top 10 preseason and most preseason polls are kind of your normal, your Kansas's, Dukes.
They just throw all the big names up there, and
you're going to see mostly the same old guys up there. I think I saw Gonzaga's up there in the top 5 to start this year. So anyway, we'll touch on some college basketball for sure, but once baseball's over, we're going to be going full swing into the NBA. I know not everybody around here loves it, but there are
It is
actually
what
a
it
lot
is.
more.
Yep.
There are a lot more NBA fans now than there were in
Yes,
this area, I think.
100%.
And hopefully, hey, we've got people listening all over the world.
Hey,
And they're NBA fans all over the place.
I'm going to tell you, I don't have my phone in front of me because it's over there. But
Is it the Netherlands?
we've had the Netherlands. Russia's watched the last 2 weeks. We got a guy in Russia keeping it up. We've had over 30 different countries checking us out. So if you guys are out there, we appreciate you listening, watching. Hit the subscribe button on whatever you're listening to out there, whether it be SoundCloud, YouTube, Castbox, Apple iTunes, what is it called? Apple Podcast?
Apple Podcasts, yeah,
iTunes, you can
/
get it on
iTunes.
both of those.
Yeah.
Check us out, subscribe, like it. We're our numbers are growing every week, and we really appreciate it because we don't get anything out of this except the fact that we get to talk about sports,
Just a little
which
fun.
is what we actually love more than anything in the world. So we appreciate the few people that actually do listen to us. And so Nosebleed Sports Podcast T-shirts, if I guaranteed you one, I promise you they really are coming. We got our list of shirts that we owe out, the free shirts we owe to people. We will not be having any more free T-shirt
Not giving them away
giveaways anymore.
It's
So
coming out of our own pockets.
we got the I believe we have the ones that we got to give them out to. And again, the logo is just not done. I'll just be honest with you, it's not done.
It's been almost done for a while.
It's
We've
been
had
almost
some
done for a while. It's literally being worked on as we speak.
fine tuning. Just
There's
needs
some
to be done,
fine tuning,
and we're just about
and
ready.
once
to go.
that happens, next week I plan on revealing my Michael Phelps abs by taking off a Nosebleeds T-shirt. That's the goal.
Oh.
That's the goal.
Nice. Congratulations on the Michael Phelps abs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know, he ate like, what was it, like 5,000 or 8,000 calories a day or something like that when he trained.
Yeah. I'm pretty close to that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty close to that. I just don't train.
But okay.
Yeah.
You don't swim like 18 miles a day or
no,
anything like that.
no swimming.
You just do the carbs part.
no biking, no running. Actually, very little walking.
But driving, right?
I do drive a lot,
Okay.
which involves a lot. My right calf is incredibly
Just
strong.
massive.
Yeah, big time right calf muscle. That's pretty much the only muscle I have.
And that's why you have to consume all those calories, because if you're going to build that up, you need those calories so that you can work them off.
I would probably
and that
just
helps
fall
build
asleep at the wheel.
muscle up, and then, yeah.
I cramp up something. I don't know how it would go. All right,
You know,
Adam.
you could drink all the water you need because you're in the pool anyway. So just
Exactly.
open your mouth.
Yeah.
And
I'm in the pool. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
I'm in the pool.
As long as you don't mind a little chlorine in your water.
It doesn't bother me. Just as long as, I mean, the problem is I pee in the pool. So I'm going to end up just drinking my own pee.
Okay. Well, you know what? Some people actually do that.
I'm not kidding with you. 100%. If I'm sitting in a pool, that's going to be a swipe left, swipe right for next week.
Okay.
Pee in the pool.
Okay.
Pee in the pool.
Pretty easy one, but I'll save it for next week.
If you're ever in a pool with me and I creep off to the left with a beer in my hand or something like that, and I've had about 5 or 6 of them, and I creep off all by myself and just kind of make it look like I'm doing a little stroll, getting myself wet, walking around, it's really because I'm getting away from everybody.
You really
to pee.
are getting yourself wet.
Listen, I just don't want everybody to get that instant warm feeling, and then it'd be awkward for everybody. I mean, I'll tell you I pee in the pool. I got no problem with it. It is what it is. There's a ton of chlorine in there. By the time it gets to you, it's
that's
dead.
not.
Every piece of DNA in that thing's
Oh
gone.
my God.
What do you
Oh
think
my
you put all
God.
the acid and all the chlorine and stuff like that in there for?
You would spit on Chris Paul's face, I feel like.
I would. I don't think I would spit on his face.
So spit's
But
not
if
as
he
bad
was
as,
gonna spit,
you
but
mean
if
pee's
but if
better than
Rondo was
spit?
gonna spit in my face, I might open my mouth just to really mess with him. Like, watch this. Yeah. What are you going to do about that now? You
Catch
think,
it in your
you
mouth.
think you're gross, but you think you're going to disrespect me? I just ate your spit, fool.
Nobody's going to outgross you.
So true. All right, if you want to catch the outgrossingness of myself on Twitter, it's on @SickWithIt. Adam on Twitter.
I'm at Adam Schmidt 44.
You can catch us at the Nosebleed Sports Podcast on Facebook. Search us on SoundCloud, Apple iTunes Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, YouTube, SoundCloud. We appreciate everybody. Hit the subscribe button, like it, and Facebook Live, of course. I can't forget the Facebook Live. Mm-hmm. So
yep, we're on there.
Definitely check it out. We appreciate everybody that does. And on that note, I don't have any song pulled up because I'm currently.
So you have to sing one.
I'll show you what I'm watching. Here you go. You can listen to this, and this is going to take us out. So don't forget to turn your headlights on.
Except for those three. So I think you're going to see those 3 ejections.
I'd be shocked if they weren't. And again, Ingram coming in outside again of that fight between these two. As the third man coming in, that's usually heavily penalized.
And they usually step in before those escalate, Mike. I think that one just got away from him quickly.
My man,
2
Jeff
technical
Van Gundy.
fouls on Ingram in addition to the personal foul, so he's ejected. Technical foul on both on Rondo and Chris Paul. They're ejected. Houston will get 2 free throws, and then they'll take it out of bounds.
I was watching that. I couldn't get back to a song. And now, of course, the song comes on.